So I finally quit smoking after 25 years. I've been a heavy smoker ever since I was 15 years old. I'm 40. I quit on May 6th. Today is June 30th. And in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the benefits of quitting and also some of the negatives that a lot of people may not tell you about for whatever reason. Maybe they're just trying to give a positive message. Maybe they're embarrassed. Maybe they're just being optimistic. I'm not sure. But I will tell you that there are some downsides to quitting that you may not expect, as well as some upsides, some positives that you probably weren't expecting either. And so for me, one of the biggest downsides have been that, a lot of people will tell you that when you quit, your life is going to change dramatically, that you're going to have life changing focus and clarity. And for me, that's not what happened. I was always pretty active. I would consider myself a high functioning user. And so when I quit, nothing really changed mentally. I still feel the same way that I did when I was using all the time. I know it's only been 2 months, but I've quit in the past. I've quit a few times in the past. And I always went back to smoking, obviously, because I didn't really like who I was as a sober person. For the last 20 years, I've been focusing on being a parent, being a good parent. Now I know that sounds hypocritical, saying how could you be a good parent when you're a stoner? And I'll say that, well, being a stoner helped me be a really patient, loving, and kind parent. And I was always thinking about my kids first. I may have spent too much time putting myself down and beating myself up over whether I was a good enough parent or not. And when I'm sober, I don't think like that. And I don't like that. I never was comfortable with that. And so being a user while being a parent at the same time, it helped me get over a lot of unresolved issues, things from my past, things that I felt guilty about, people I've hurt, people who have hurt me. And while you're a parent, you can't really afford to think like that. You can't really afford to spend a lot of time thinking like that because yesterday's gone and tomorrow's coming whether you like it or not, Lord willing. So you got to live in the moment and you got to think about the future. You got to think about your kids. You got to learn to be selfless. And so smoking kind of helped me with that. And I'll be honest, it did help me with that. And so I don't really have any guilt over being a parent who smoked. Now, some of the positives have been, I'm not spending money anymore. I'm not spending time going to the dispensary 2 to 3 times a week like I used to. And I live in a legal state where it's very cheap, so I really wasn't spending a lot of money anyway. But now I'm not spending any, and my lungs feel a lot better. And I also have some goals in mind for the next half of my life, hopefully next half of my life, where we just doesn't fit in. No matter how high functioning I was, no matter how productive I was and active, there's some things you just can't do in life if weed pops up on a drug test. And I didn't want to have to worry about that anymore. It's not necessarily just about changing careers, but it is kind of that. If I want to find a new job or find a new career, I may need to take a drug test. And I don't want to worry about that. That kind of makes me feel like a juvenile, like a teenager, like I got something to hide. Even though I've never really been ashamed of using, it kind of feels stupid be worried about that. Having to buy a fake urine test or something like that, it just feels dumb. Using somebody else's urine or anything like that. Getting clean only to turn right back around and start using again. I just didn't like the idea of that. If I was going to use, I wanted to use with no shame. But like I said, doesn't really fit into my future plans. And I guess I'll say it now. A part of my future plan is since I am getting older, I need to lock in some good health insurance for my future. And recently, the Air Force increased their age limit to 42, and I thought I could do that. That might be fun. Might be might have a good time. Might be a good experience. And I've always kind of thought about it, and I feel like it was just the right time. You know, the age limit being bumped up. I'm still in good health. My kids are older now. It just seems like something I should do. And it's not a big commitment, and I'm only gonna try to join the reserves. So besides BMT and tech school, I'm only gonna be gone a week and a month. Was it 2 weeks a year or something like that? So it's nothing crazy. It's not a huge commitment necessarily, but it is a reason to help keep me clean because you got to stay clean apparently, and I think I can do it. I think it'll be a good time. I think I'll have fun, and also my kids are thinking about joining as well, and so I kind of wanted to be a little bit of encouragement for them and be supportive of them. And I think it'd be kind of cool for them to say, hey, you know, my dad at 40 years old, he joined with me. At least my oldest son, he's waiting for me to get in shape, and we're gonna go down and talk to the recruiter at the same time. So I feel like that would be kind of cool story to have. And my youngest son, he's in Civil Air Patrol, and he's planning on joining the Air Force when he gets older as well. And I think my 17-year-old wants to also. So, anyways, I just thought it would be kind of a cool thing to do. You know, kind of change our family story, our family picture, and I could be supportive of them and encourage them. And also wanted them to know that it's never too late to change your life. It's never too late to change things around, and you don't need to worry about betraying your old self or losing your personality that you've always had. You don't got to be afraid of that. You're gonna stay the same person no matter what you do in life, no matter what you decide to do. Um, you're gonna keep your personality. At least that's how I am. That's how I think, and I want my kids to be the same way. It's never too late to do better. It's okay to do better. My dad was a truck driver, drug addict. Nothing wrong with being a truck driver, but he lost everything to drugs. You know, lost me and my sisters, his wife, house, business. He lost it all to drugs. And he never recovered from that. He remarried, but he never recovered. He never turned his life around. He never started anything new. His dad was a World War II veteran who became a truck driver who had a lot of mental issues and a lot of emotional issues. He was an abusive parent. He had a hard life. He was a hard man, but he never changed. And I think my dad felt he couldn't change any either. That maybe he felt he had no right to change, or he was betraying his family name or family history or something like that. And I don't want my kids to feel that way. I don't want them to feel tied down by their dad's decisions, by their grandfather's decisions, from their own decisions. I want them to feel free. I want them to feel confident that they can always start something new. You can start something new. It's never too late to change your life around. Even if your life isn't bad, even if your life is okay, it's okay to start something new. It's okay to do something different. If you want to move to a different state, do it. I've lived in 7 different states now, and Everyone's always asking me, oh, how did you move? How did you move across country? You have kids, and oh, we just did it. It's not that easy. You got to commit to a plan and trust the process. You got to have good credit. You got to have job stability or a business, a stable business. And you got to know what you're doing. You got to save up money for down payments and all that. It's not super easy, but it's not impossible either. You can do it. And I already know that I can do those things. And so this was a new hurdle for me. This was something that's different because even though I've done all these things, I've always been smoking, and even though I've quit, I've never stayed sober. And so this was a big hurdle for me. This was something that was a challenge to me, and I wanted to be challenged. Like I said, I want to do something different. And I don't know how long this is gonna last. I don't know if I'm gonna, after my first 6 years in the reserves, if I'm gonna like it, if I'm gonna reenlist. I don't know. My plan is to stay until I'm old and retire with, you know, the full benefits, the insurance, and everything like that. But I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. My mind can change in 10 years from now, and who knows? Maybe I'll end up back smoking again. I don't know. I hope not. I hope I don't. Anyways, I just wanted to touch on some things that maybe you don't think about. Maybe you don't hear from other people. Some things you're not expecting if you decide to quit smoking. And there's other issues too. There's, my digestive system has been off, has been weird. My libido has kind of crashed for some reason. I don't know why. Sometimes I don't really have an appetite anymore. And I think things are starting to balance themselves out. I'm not sure. I think I got to give it some more time. We'll see. But that could also be because I'm getting older too. I don't know. But what I do know is that I'm conquering this challenge. I'm tackling this hurdle for myself because I like to prove to myself that I can do things that are difficult. The day that I quit on May 6th, I had went to the dispensary that day, as a matter of fact, and I had bought a bunch of edibles, a bunch of gummies, and I only bought one pre roll. It was an infused pre roll. I got home, I was smoking it, and it just hit me, and I was like, maybe I should quit. I think maybe I might be ready to quit. Like I said, my son is in the Civil Air Patrol. My other boys have been talking about the military, and here I am smoking. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna finish this pre roll because I bought it already, and then I'm done. Even though I had all the gummies and the edibles and stuff that I had bought, I still have them. I still have them, and I kept them because I like to feel that pressure. I don't even look at them anymore. I don't even think about them. I kind of forgot that I had them, to be honest. But I like to feel that challenge, and knowing that I'm overcoming that. I wouldn't have been able to do that in the past because I wasn't committed. I wasn't committed to quitting, and I just proved to myself that I could. Yeah, I got something to prove to myself, and I think I'm doing it. I think I am proving it. Even though, like I said, I feel like I was in okay stoner. I was high functioning and I was pretty healthy. Uh, I could do so much. I could do anything I put my mind to it, except quit. That was the one thing I could not do was quit. And a lot of people will tell you that it's not addictive. Yes, it is. It's addictive. Maybe it's not like addictive in the way you think it is, but it is. It's very satisfying to come home after work and light one up. It's very cozy to smoke when it's cold outside and it's wintertime and you got a bowl of chili steaming in front of you. That joint just goes well with that. I don't know why I gave that example, but for me, I like that. It's like comfort. Um, So yeah, it was addictive for me. It was very addictive. And it was hard to go a day without using. And not only did I feel bad about that for myself, but I know there's a lot of other people out there who will kind of use people like me and say, "Hey, he smokes. He's high functioning. He's a good parent. He's a good guy. He's active and he's got his priorities straight. And he smokes, but they don't. A lot of people don't. And you know people like that as well. If you smoke, if you've been around smokers, there's some people who have no business smoking at all. I've had a lot of good friends and family who I can honestly say weed destroyed their life. Yeah, that sounds dramatic, but it really did. A lot of male friends, I was unable to keep a lot of male friends over the years who were smokers because they just really had no ambition. Uh, they couldn't get themselves together. They were very emotional, and I couldn't really stand to be around them. With women as well, a lot of like I have a couple female relatives who I watch them go from sober to smoking, and I don't know what it is, but it affects some women differently than a lot of men. I watch girls who were very kind and patient women turn into obnoxious, loud, really defensive, paranoid humans. They think everyone's out to get them. They're always angry all the time. I don't know what it is. I think there is a science behind it. You know, like how weed affects hormones and how it affects women. I think I read somewhere that uh, in between smoking, women experience withdrawals in between smoking. Where a man is, he doesn't really experience withdrawals in between smoking, you know, until he actually quits, right? Something like that. And so I know there's a lot of people out there who really have no business smoking. There are some people who are like me who do just fine. And maybe there's something wrong with us and the weed just balances things out. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe that's true. Um, but anyway, if you think that you should quit, or if you think that you don't have a reason to quit, that you're doing just fine and the weed isn't hurting you, maybe you're right. Maybe you don't need to quit. Maybe you're totally fine. Maybe you can handle it. You have no reason to quit. You're happy with yourself. You're happy with your life. You don't need to quit just to prove anything to yourself or anybody else. Maybe you're right. Maybe you don't need to quit. Um, but if you don't feel that way, or if you just feel like you want to start something different, you want to challenge yourself, or maybe you're one of those people who weed really affects negatively. Maybe you need to be honest with yourself and say, well, yeah, maybe I can at least try it out. Give yourself that chance. Get sober and see if it helps you. See if it makes you feel better. Maybe it'll finally allow you to deal with some unresolved issues that weed has been hiding. Anyways, just something I wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys got something out of this message. If you didn't, that's okay. Thanks for watching anyway. And I hope everyone has a good day.